Hello everyone, welcome to State of Gaming. We have a very small episode today. This is actually not completely an episode. What I'm gonna be doing is talking about Jason, also known as Thor, also known as Pirate Software. And I'm not gonna take all the controversy at first. I'm just gonna talk about what actually matters when it comes to the gaming industry in general, and why when we have cases like his case, it's really bad for the industry, especially for indie developers. I'm not saying that every indie developer is the same. I'm not saying that every indie starter is bad or anything like that. I'm just trying to give you an idea of why is the whole thing is really bad, right? So we're gonna start with that, which is that. And then I'm gonna move on, and we're gonna do a little bit of a chill stream. I'm gonna be going over my debate with Grace and like ideas I have, as well as looking at her debate, as I haven't actually seen her debate that much. I've seen her debate with Andrew, but Andrew um, is Andrew. He just took care of the whole situation on his own. And she didn't do much, being honest, during that debate. But I see one with Destiny I'm kind of curious about. And there's other stuff I can just look at, just figure out where she's at and what is it I'm going against, right? That's the plan. That's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna give it just a couple of, I'm gonna give it a minute just to see what's happening, if everyone is around. If not, I'll just start. We'll get there when we'll get there, right? That's how things go. Perfect. So, Thor, Pirate Software. I'm gonna even open a new tab. Pirate Software. Show his face. It's not like he is unrecognizable or anything like that. Everybody knows who he is. This guy. This is a must. They've been doing a lot of, obviously, like doctor photos and stuff like that. I'm not gonna do that. I just wanna show his face. This guy is is an ex-employee from Blizzard. He's actually quite known in the gaming community, and the reason why he's known in the gaming community is because he portrays himself as a Blizzard employee, and that carried a lot of weight. Especially before, right now it's not as much, but before, like, being a Blizzard employee was like, holy, this guy is the real deal. Because that's how we used to look at Blizzard, right? So, what did he do? He created a game, or he created a Kickstarter, an idea for a game that's called Hardbound. This game is very reminiscent of another game that is called Undertale. Undertale is it's a good indie developer game, interesting game. If you wanna ever play it, I can confidently say that it's a good game. It's not my cup of tea. I don't personally didn't match my taste, but I know a lot of people that love the game, so I can say that it's a good game. He created this. He started working in 2015, I'm pretty sure, but in 2017 he started a Kickstarter, and he made good money out of it. He made almost $19,000. He was only asking for a $5,000 thing. So he was going to raise $5,000, and with that, he wanted to be able to create the game, which is perfectly understandable. It's fine. I don't think you can make a game with $5,000, but you can actually work like comfortably for around 6 months for 20,000. Obviously, if you're doing it alone, you can work maybe a little bit more. Remember, this is what you're gonna be paid at the end for making the game, right? This is like your starting money to create the game. So if you have like 3 people, 19,000, you can probably go 4 or 5 months if you stretch it, not necessarily super comfortably. But if you have a Kickstarter like this one, you can even go to a publisher and you can work out something great. Most Kickstarters never get to this point where you are over the top, and most don't go like 2 times beyond what they're asking. He is I'll give another backstory real quick of him. He became really popular, and then he got into hardcore WoW, and hardcore WoW, he had a really bad run into a dungeon with a bunch of newbies. They Some of them died. He didn't take any responsibility, even though he's a Blizzard employee and supposed to be the veteran of the party. And that caused a big rift into his personal. I mean, he couldn't actually like phantom it. He couldn't control his emotions, and he always thinks he's right. So he started like just banning people that told him that he did something wrong, and it all it all end up here. Like from all the controversy when it comes to pirate software, the only actual controversy that I think it's important is this one. This is the actual controversy that is important, especially in the gaming community, because none of the other controversies matter. They don't matter. It doesn't matter at all. Give me just 1 second. I want to close one door, so I'll be right back in just 1 second. Okay, so none of his controversies matter to me. There's coding controversies and other bunch of stuff. I don't care. I'm not a coder. I'm a designer, and I like the industry of video games, and I see it from the other side, which is the artistic side. The game looks good. The artist of the game is not him. Okay, here it is. Brady Shier Ramel is the artist. I think it's a. I think she's doing great. And then Steven van Vakeren is the composer, and I think he's also great. So I had that done. Okay, so you go ahead and raise about 20,000. It's a bit less than 20,000, but you raise about $20,000. You start your streaming career because you're supposed to be working on the game. People actually support you in your endeavor, and they want to see the game, right? So what happens? Well, he goes on and creates Hardbound in Steam, and this was done on December 24, 2018. And you can get the demo. And the demo is actually pretty good. Like, I'm not gonna go ahead and say the demo's bad. The demo seems to be pretty good. Not perfect, not a great game, but for a demo, it's a pretty good demo. And here's the big problem. The big problem is that it's still in early access. It's been in early access since pretty much 2018. We are in 2025. It's been about 8 years since the development started, and the game is just not there yet. Just not there yet. He is saying that the reason is because he had a lot of rewrites, the story is not complete, and he has been working on it. He said that he's done writing many times on stream. He goes back and forth in between whether he is going to be done or not, right? Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that his page is pretty cool. He has cool things, tells you about all of the game. If you are ever in a position that you're making your game, you have to make a web page. It's a must. Even if you don't like it, like I don't like it, but you gotta do a web page and you have to do everything. One of the things that really kind of pisses me off, and shouldn't piss me off, but it kind of pisses me off, is the merge. I'm not against merge, but if you have time to do merge and stuff, like, finish your game. I would be into finish the game first and then do your merge. That would be what I think is the correct way, right? Who am I? Anyway, everything in his like Kickstarter seems fine. I don't see any problems with any of these. There's no one complaining that they didn't get any of the extra stuff. Most of the extra stuff is like stickers, pins, poster, socks. Like all of these is fine. I don't have a problem with it. So what is the big problem? Well, here comes the problem. one, people are less likely to invest in games through Kickstarter, and that's hard. We are in a moment where there's a lot of people trying to go into the development into developing games. There is possibilities of you actually making money in games, I think, especially if you're a good designer, and especially if you know how to make a game. That's why I study it. I'm wrong in a lot of senses. It's not simple, and you're not gonna get rich. No, I'm not even gonna say quickly. You're just not gonna get rich easily at all. So you have to understand where is it that you're going at the end of the day. You are going into an industry that is very, very harsh and that will be asking you to get the game, make the game, ship the game, and make it cheap and easy and enjoyable and all of that. And it all takes time, and you're not going to be seeing much money until you're done, pretty much. And I think Kickstarter was a great way of going and recruiting some money so that you can get like micro investments in your game, and you're pretty much pre-selling the game that you're going to be working on. But this kind of games and this kind of people that go into Kickstarter, sell you a game, it's 8 years later, and they're not done. They really, really hurt indie developers, especially. There's obviously good games that have come from Kickstarter. Obsidian, Pillars of Eternity is one of them. They got like $3 million and they made Pillars of Eternity. It's a good game. But there are a lot of really bad Kickstarter projects that just never get done. They never get done, and it's really bad that they never get done. So here, this is the other problem that I have when it comes to pirate software. And it's something that a lot of people have talked about because, as I said at the beginning, he became very famous because he worked in the gaming industry for Blizzard. I'll make this thing. He never worked in the gaming industry as a developer. He always worked as a security engineer of quality assistant, like he worked QA or security. But he presents himself as an authority when it comes to the gaming industry. If you're presenting yourself as an authority in the gaming industry and you do this kind of shit, it really hurts everybody. If I go and try to if I go out and try to make a game now, and I find some people that I can work with, and they made games before, and they were presenting us as a team that is capable in the industry, this kind of stuff really hurt those kind of people, right? They're like, well, yeah, but I mean, the ex Blizzard employee couldn't finish his fucking game. That's what people are thinking about, and it's really bad, and it really hurts the industry in general. But it mostly hurts indie developers that we see these kind of stories. And I think it's especially bad because if somebody's like me, starting a streaming kind of show and at the same time want to be working on a game, people are going to be like, well, is he a streamer? Is he a developer? Like, which one is he going to put his heart and mind towards? And it really sucks. It's not that great. It really makes things worse in general. When it comes to, as I said, the art is perfectly fine. It's very serviceable. The intro is kind of good. I would even recommend everybody to just go ahead and play it. I mean, it's pretty much for free. It is not finished, and of course, right now there's a lot of negative reviews in general. So even if you see there's a lot of negative reviews, he still has about 2,000 reviews, and it was actually mixed. I saw this like a year and a half ago, and it was mostly positive. Obviously, the whole problem that we're having made it actually pretty bad. But all of these is to say that he got money for to make this game. He got money in order to actually make the game, and he got more money in order to get the game. Because early access you can buy it, so he got more money by people buying the game, and he got more money during his streams. I still couldn't make the game, so that is the reality of a lot of people making games is that you're not gonna even finish the project. Projects are hard, they're difficult, they take a lot of time. A lot of them you can't do them alone. You need to be able, like a solo developer almost never exists. Even if they say he made it alone, that's not, most of the time it's not true. You have people that are making the music, there's people that are helping you with art, there's people that are helping you with programming. Depending on where you are, at what point you are, there's always going to be somebody around you trying to help you on getting the thing done. So it's a little bit frustrating for me. This is the actual like criticism I have for Pirate Software. Like this whole problem with the game would be the only criticism. If I was like having such a successful career as a streamer, I was making a ton of money, and I couldn't finish the game because I need to be streaming or something like that. I would have just get people to finish it for me if I couldn't do it myself. And that would have made a lot more sense, even though I wasn't getting like all the recognition, right? But at the end of the day, that's all I think that should be done. I don't see any other solution. If you're having troubles, you can't make it. Get people like to help you, right? Especially if you're making money. But don't do this kind of crap. Just stop doing it. Um, I would there have been a couple of projects I've backed on Kickstarter. Fortunately for me, the projects I've backed all got finished, and I've always had like the product that I paid for. Even if some of them were not what I expected, I still got what I paid for. So I'm not into. I don't invest a lot. Mostly because I don't have that much money, but I don't invest a lot in this kind of projects. But I would, if I could, like I would invest in more indie games and more indie stuff. But yeah, like I don't think all of the other stuff matters. My big criticism will always be Hardbound and how it came that he created a game, made like the idea of the thing, but actually never actually finished it. And there's gonna be less people willing to actually put their money into like Kickstarter or to help an indie dev to try to finish a game because of this kind of stuff. And so I will say that it's probably a call of action to all of the developers so that they don't do this kind of stuff. You need to be able to, if you're gonna say that you're gonna make a game, you need to make the game and finish it, so that everybody can, so that the actual, so that if you're gonna go to some place like Kickstarter, there's people that are actually willing to help make artistic endeavors. I will say something else. I was watching Speedo from AI, Speedoforopoulos or something. I'll put the I'll put his link in the chat. And one of the things that I find it interesting was he was talking about how AI is not making any money, and it isn't. And one of the things I realize is that there's a lot of people out there that like to get easy, cheap kind of art, and not pay for it, and it's fine. I don't I don't dislike the whole idea of having an image generator if that's what you're gonna be doing, but when it comes to paying for stuff, especially in something like video games, you're not paying only for cheap art. You're actually paying for the whole thing. So that was that is what I wanted to talk about right now in regards of the whole um, well, in regards to pirate software and all of these part the of the industry. Um, both of my episodes, these when it comes to state of gaming, have been pretty laid back, pretty well, not laid back. They have been pretty bad, right? We're talking about a game that's never gonna be finished probably. Uh, and last time I was talking about a DLC and a game that are probably not gonna be released until next year. So I'll probably bring next time um, good news. I find some good news, and I'll bring good news, so that everybody can have a good time instead of being all mad and anything. And yeah, that's my opinion on the whole thing. The it doesn't to me it doesn't really matter that much when it comes to what happened or how the situation went. People fuck up in video games all the time. He should have just say I'm sorry, and most than likely nothing would have happened. But at the same time, it's kind of good that it happened, because most people, I think, forgot about Hardbound and the whole situation and the fact that he can't finish the game. But it brought it back, and it brought like a loop into it, and I hope people are way more mindful into what they think a game is, and how much time you need to make a game and how much money you need, so that when you go into Kickstarter you actually ask for what you need to make the game, or you find other ways to get your game going. It's all money, right? We need money to survive, and we need money to create. And even if we don't like it, I don't necessarily think about money that much. I would prefer that it would come to me and I would be happy about it, you know? Everybody would, I think most people would be happy, like, just go to a bank, you're like, oh, I have money. I don't think anybody's gonna complain about that. Grid probably would. Grid would be like, it's not enough. I need more. Which is why he is as rich as he is. But yeah, it's a very, it's just, this is the thing that really kills the industry. And it's one of the reasons why we're seeing a lot of problems in the industry, because a lot of people, there's been too many games that have never been made. There's been too many scammers. There's been too many people that have not delivered on their promises. I'm not even calling, by the way, him a scammer. I'm just saying that there have been many people that have not even made a project at all, and they just leave with the money. And yeah, so I will go ahead and give my full-fledged condemnation to Jason Thor for not finishing the game. She just finished the fucking game. Just finish the game, dude. You have 50 years of experience, you know, because working at Blizzard is 2 times the experience. So just finish the fucking game. Yeah. Let's put some music on. Let's get cozy and chillful. I hope everyone has depends on the game inward. I prefer the traditional buy to own. I think you should be able, like, if you're gonna pay me for a game and I make a game, you should have ownership of what I made for you. ownership means that I would even be okay with you if I'm gonna sell you a Steam key. In my mind, you should be able to resell the Steam key, right? That's what I would. That's, that's what I think about it. There are certain games that are way better with microtransactions and like DLC and all that. I understand why those games are made that way. I don't like them because most of them use predatory services. So, and I don't mean predatory services as in they are taking advantage of you. They're taking advantage of your psychology. This is something that happens a lot in casinos too. Like we have this response to risk, and it's kind of automatic. So when you go ahead and pay money for like a loot box and you like don't get anything, you can get a little bit mad. But if you get the big thing, there's a huge hit of dopamine, and people just love that. So I don't really enjoy those kind of services. I think they're kind of predatory, and I would 99% of the time prefer an experience that is made for the game and that you pay for it and you have ownership of it. I'm not sure that it takes advantage of the younger. There is a thing called whales, and these are people that have like some kind of mental. There are people that are very likely to get addicted, and they can even be very profitable members of society. They can have a lot of money, or they can find a way to get a lot of money. And there's a lot of games that are trying to find these people, and make them expend thousands and thousands of dollars on a game. One of the easiest, I think there was a person that spent like $500,000 on Diablo Immortal, for example. So if you get 3 of those, that's $1.5 million. And yeah, it's yeah, that's true. Like, yeah, you can get when you are a developer and you're making a game like that. This is another problem with it, right? Because you don't care. If I was you as a developer, what you're studying, part of it is is a little bit of psychology. So you try to realize what kind of colors and what kind of emotional response you get from those colors. So you're studying a lot about like using art and using like sounds and even ideas to get emotional responses. So yeah, I think the whole I really think I don't have any problem with pay to like if you pay for a DLC or you pay for skin or you pay for stuff like that. I don't care. I think it's fine. The only thing I don't think should even exist is loot boxes. All of that should be removed. But yeah, as a developer, you don't care. You just want to have the response you want, and you want to get the money out of it at the same time because you are in a business. So I understand why it is created that way and why people see it that way. But it's one of those things that I am a horrible authoritarian and I will completely ban it. I am within the people that think that loot boxes should be gone for good, and we should be moving back to a buy to own model and system. I would I would love to say I do the same, but I don't at all. I enjoy Steam and I really like Steam, so I have a lot of games in Steam. You mean Steam is a monopoly? I agree. if you mean Steam is a monopoly, it is, but it kinda is, but it's been that way because people just don't trust any other place. And oh, Microsoft. Yeah, I agree. I buy a lot of games. I'm bad with money, but Microsoft is a monopoly, but it's a monopoly on because of other stuff. I don't even think that it's like a gaming monopoly. You have Steam, you have PlayStation, you have Nintendo, you have other things that are. I'll probably make an episode about Steam when I start doing the. I will do an episode about Nintendo first, then I could probably do one about Steam, like a deep dive into Steam. It's pretty much it's owned by a base dude that all he wants is to make money. That he made a lot of money in the gaming industry, and he was like, "Oh, I can make more money just selling games," and that's it. Yeah, I agree that the console is. It feels like a monopoly, but in reality, they do have competition. They do have competition, like PlayStation and Xbox. It. I don't even like any of their stuff. Consoles are very hard to manipulate and work around and give patches and do all of the things that you could just have for PC. So I prefer PC games. I think PC games are way better, and the way that you do it's way better. Lately, we've been having trouble with graphic cards because Nvidia is not actually doing graphic cards for gaming anymore. They're just focusing on AI. So there have been issues with DLSS and other stuff. But yeah, there's a problem. I mean, you can always buy a PlayStation. That's what I mean. Monopoly would be you don't have any options. Yeah, well, the GPUs have been bad, but they're not made for gaming. They're made for generative AI. So that's the problem. That's why. It's not even the PCs, it's just the GPU. Like 40 series was fine. It wasn't that big of a leap from the 30 series, but it was a leap. And the 50 series are just weird. They have problems. Okay, we're gonna move on from this topic, and we're gonna go to the sauce. So, I have my debate with Grace this Friday, and the debate is gonna be about is it immoral to have sexual activity before marriage? That is the topic of the debate. I am in the affirmative, if I remember correctly, which means that I think it is. That's it. And she's gonna be in negative, which means that she doesn't think it is immoral. I am not sure that there will be breaks, but they are trying to move you into. I don't even know what exactly is the idea. Like, they want to sell you a lot of different things. But yeah. So let's move on for a little bit. We're gonna be doing the thing about the debate. It's been a while since I watched the Coomer Gremlin on stream, on screen, not on stream. I never watched him before. I'm gonna go ahead and just take a look at these, see what the debate is about. I think it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be easy. Let me tell you why. I am a very dry person in general. Like, I wish to say that I was super fun and super fun. You know, it's super fun to be with me. You have a lot of fun. But in reality, I'm not that fun. I am a little bit dry. I have an actual strategy about these. I want to have a conversation more than have a debate. I know it's not a good place to be, but I think that there's a lot of young people that could actually get a reason why they should not be doing these and instead should be getting married and having kids and having a good life. So that is what I like. When she said about the debate and we should have the debate, at first I was like, no, in the back of my mind. But then I realized I do want to have this debate. I do want to go ahead and realize what is going on with these and what can I do to. What would I say to the people that I love when they grow up, if they grow up, or if I have them? What would I tell them when it comes to this, right? So I don't think I'm in the affirmative. It doesn't even matter if I tell you what is my idea. It's I think we're gonna see the difference between an is and a not. That's pretty much what the debate is gonna be about. What ought we do versus what is. Yeah, I agree. Like, that is what I'm saying. We're gonna see. The debate is gonna be between an is and not. It's gonna be like, well, this is the lesser. This is our society. This is what we are working on. This is, and the problem is that the debate's talking about morality. So in the morality, we don't care about the is. We care about the ought. What ought we do? And what ought we do is, well, we should and we ought to marriage, and then we can do all of those things that are immoral when you are out of the sanctity, right? All of the marriage. It kind of bothered me that in the way they phrased it, in the idea was like Eastern Orthodox versus Protestant, because she said she was Catholic, so I don't understand where that come from. I'm also not gonna talk directly for the church. I'm gonna be like, the church says this, because that's not my plan. My plan is just talking about moral, like, simple ethics, and we all know that when it comes to the ethical idea from the church is you get married or you are in control of yourself. So you have to control yourself, or you are, or you get married. That's the whole point of it. So let's start with the video. I'm gonna try to not cringe too much with the Coomer Gremlin and see what exactly this is about. And what I'm looking at this is not necessarily her arguments, because it has nothing to do with our debate. I don't think her argument is important in this debate. I'm gonna go ahead over my own debate with her in a moment. But yeah, my birds are more degenerate.
Okay, so initially, modern day debate guy James, good friend of Subway, reached out and said that he wanted you and me to do a duo debate against two other people, arguing that Steven Crowder was not abusive at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with this. This is about the Crowder problem that happened years ago. I will say that we all know now that he wasn't abusive. I don't think it was abusive. I don't think there is any abuse that we could see. The video that they show was they fighting a little bit. Not even fighting, like having a discussion. And you know, like Hillary is a namesake, I guess, because we should have said, instead of Karen, it should have been Hillary. That's what I think. They should have been called Hillarys instead of Karens. But it is what it is.
Yeah. And I don't agree with that.
Sure.
I think I think there are definitely signs of abuse at the very least in that video, and you seem to disagree. So, and you wanted to hop on and chat about it.
Yeah, I totally disagree with you. I think, if anything, Hillary is the abusive one, but I don't see...
There's another thing. So she parades kind of like an anti-feminist. And I say parade because I think she's an actual feminist. Okay? There's a lot of ideas that are embedded in our culture that are feminist ideas and ideals even. And we don't even comprehend how bad it has been for society and for us, right? So I think she is she has like feminist ideas, even though she's like right now saying that the woman is the one that is the abusive one.
See any signs of abuse at all.
Okay.
So
yeah, where do you want to start?
we can. Okay, so I have
actually,
a whiteboard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I was gonna say before, do you want to just watch the video from start to finish, and then I can write down things that I think are abusive, and then you can be refreshed on it, and then we can jump into the conversation?
Sure, we can do that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna push play in 3, 2, 1, go.
I drew a boundary. No, you just did it. I drew a boundary of abusive and cruel. You were not taking the car. Because if you refuse to do wifely things, then I will go pick up the groceries.
Oh, yeah, as I said, we're gonna see it, but I am even tempted to just go forward. But let's keep on watching.
Steaks, wood pellets, my grill. I know it's an unreasonable request, but I'll go do it. How about you first? Hillary, how do you respect the man? Yes, other than man, you see the love of respect. No, other than man, no, you're not taking the car.
Steven,
You're not taking the car.
Steven,
You are not
then
taking
I
the
will
car.
ask someone to pick you up. Would you like me to ask?
Oh, that's right.
It's not correct, Steven.
Get an Uber.
Okay, Steven, I can't.
Feeling some constraints?
Steven.
Like, I can't
Steven.
go. Listen to me. You want to walk out right now? Listen to me. I can't go to the gym. I can't go to my parents. I can't call my friends. I can't be home. You're going to take the car and leave me here. Hillary, just think of how boxed in you've made me.
What do you need me to pick up? I'll get it. I'll be back when I'm back.
No, that doesn't work either. You'll be back when you're back. That doesn't work either.
So again, we're just having a small argument. I don't even see what is the problem with this. Everybody made this whole thing about, oh my god, they're being he's being abusive. It's like, dude, just you're pregnant. I don't know. I really think this got blown out of proportion. It's such a dumb video.
Do you understand the difference between my life being set to the second and you going, I'll be back when I'm back?
Steven.
The only way out of this is discipline and respect. It's the only way out of it, or we're at an impasse.
We are at an impasse.
Good. Because you can't have any discipline and respect.
Steven.
Yeah. There you go. You throw your hand, you give up so easily.
I don't give up, Steven.
Hillary,
Steven.
you give up so easily. I just said the only way out of this is discipline and respect. You said, then we're at an impasse.
Steven, no, we are at an impasse, okay? I love you, but Steven, your abuse is sick.
Your abuse. There are reasons why sometimes I go ahead and I'm like, you know what we should do? Just enforce marriage. And this is the reason why, because at this point I don't see a way that you can get a woman to get out of their mentality without force, and you cannot just use force yourself as a man in today's society. So there must be a way that we can, that people can use force. And at the end of the day, it's gonna have to be society. We have to change the idea of society so that men can either use force, or society can use force in order to get women out of these. Everything you say is abuse. Everything you do is abuse. Stuff like that.
Watch it. Watch it. Fucking watch it.
I'm gonna let go. I'll get what you need me to get. And I need some space. You need to just stop engaging for a little bit. Okay? I love you.
Of course, that's gonna happen in Word. They're gonna be like, Emmett, really? But Emmett. And I don't, at this point, I don't care. Like, the other thing that will happen is that we'll make an argument, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna personalize it. This is always the case. People cannot work with argumentation. They have to work with, like, their inner monologue about their life. This is why whenever I make an argument, they want to know, like, my life. They want to know how good is my life. Like, it matters. Oh, are you married? Like, no. Does it matter? You don't have to know. How many kids do you have? What do you want to know? I'm not gonna tell you. You're nothing to me. We're not friends. I can tell you that. What I mean is, when I'm debating someone, I just don't like, when I don't talk about my personal life, it's not because I am just as mentally ill as any of these people. I am on the internet, and I love talking about myself 24/7, but I'm not doing it because I want everybody to just know everything about me. I'm not a Coomer Gremlin.
I love you very much.
I don't love you. That's the big problem. I've never received love from you, and the fact is, when I go, look, I need you to do A, B, C, and D, just be disciplined about it, you go, no. But I love you more than life itself. Okay. Put on some gloves. No. But I love you more than life itself. That's not fair. That's not fair, and it's disingenuous. Hillary, you're right, right in past. Become someone, listen to me, day in and day out, worthy of a wife, no, not as a wife. I didn't say as a wife. As a wife. Hillary.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how would you know what a cat is if you're not a cat? How would you know? Have you ever been a cat? There's gonna be a cat person that's gonna someday watch this video and get very angry at that comment. My pronouns are cat and cats. How dare you? Very, very angry at that comment.
Hillary, come on now.
I'm not gonna engage. I'm not gonna engage anymore. I'm gonna go. I'll get text me what you need. I'll get you what you need.
This is another thing that pisses me off. Like, when he's saying, "Hey, become someone that you're like, become someone worthy of a wife," he's not trying to attack her. It's like, "Hey, you know what? You're acting this way. It's just a bad way to act. I told you we're not doing this. You have to stop." And she just are still in his own head or something. It's weird. Don't like that at all.
I love you. I'm committed to you.
Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm not trying to.
Are you committed enough to do those things? You're not committed to anything. You're not committed to anything. You just said I love you and committed to it. Walk the dogs, put on some gloves.
I need to
Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things? Are you committed enough to do those things?
I'm gonna just
Walk the dogs, put on some gloves. Are you committed enough to get the medication the dogs? No, you take Betty.
I'm gonna go ahead and just put it ahead because the incessant angry typing from Steven is just annoying the crap out of me. So.
Oh, you got schizo documents. Yeah, show me.
Okay.
Watch it. Watch it.
Watch.
Watch it. Watch it.
Watch it.
Fucking watch it.
Oh
I
lord.
don't love you.
Here.
Good.
You're unworthy.
I am.
Take an Uber.
Yeah, go take an Uber, okay?
Get out of here. Watch it.
Okay. Well,
I don't even think he said that. You know, maybe that would have been a thing he should have said. Just walk the dog, bish. Just walk the dog, bish.
okay. Oh my God, we got a whole document.
Okay.
Hey.
So first of all, this starts off from like they were talking before this, right?
True.
This is obviously in the middle of something. Okay.
Yep.
I think this was like 2 or 3 years ago, so she's younger in this one. She might be not as well taught as she is right now. She's been in the internet for at least 2 years. So that's, you know, don't ever underestimate your opponents. That's something that's very important that Andrew says all the time, and true. I might look at this and be like, it's so easy. This is not the same person.
This conversation is not about her getting groceries, and it's not about her taking the car. This is this is possibly the last conversation they had before she left him. Where everybody misses the context of that. This is potentially the last conversation they had before she left him. At the end of the video, it said she fled the home, right? Then a couple months later, she divorced him. Plus, there's tons of things within the video that imply that this is her walking out on him. He says, you want to walk out right now? That isn't something you say to somebody when they're just going to get groceries. She says, I need some space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You don't say that, I need time and space. You don't say that when you're going to get groceries.
I think she's gonna make inference of an argument. This is a bad idea, and I think Steven is gonna destroy the logic with basically we don't know, and it's mostly gonna be we don't know, even though he's gonna do exactly the same thing. They both are gonna do inference arguments. So let's see, but that's what I think is gonna happen.
She is walking out on him, and he's frustrated because he's saying, you're not committed. You give up so easily, Hillary. And she's saying, I need to go. I'll be back when I'm back. How is that him abusing her? This is her leaving him a couple days before he has chest surgery.
Okay, true.
Okay, so where do you see abuse in this? It says she fled the home. She left him after this.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. Have you ever had a serious relationship before? Just checking real quick.
Nope.
Man, you're really testing. Okay, you're really testing me. Okay, no, that's not bad.
It is true that I can just go ahead and I will try to get to a point in which I'm doing the internal critique, and it's not the other way back, the other way around. But I need to move her away from the ease, because I think the ease statement is correct. It's like a lot of it's what they say now, right? They look at the red pill and they look at what they say about what is going on, and they're correct, but whenever they're going into their descriptions and prescriptions, they're incorrect. We're doing the same. I'm doing the same thing, but my prescriptions are correct. So her descriptions are correct. My prescriptions are correct. I need to move her away from the descriptions, from the descriptive claims into the moral claims. I realized, listening to myself lately, that I tend to misspeak a little bit, and I do have a big, I have an accent, and I'm a little bit, I get entangled in my words sometimes. So she's better, she's a better orator. I need to be better in all of my claims and all of the ideas behind them, so that I don't get just steamrolled.
Wait, no, that's okay. Hold on, that wasn't to discredit you. I'm sorry. It helps me navigate the conversation a little bit better. Okay, that's fine though. Okay, all right.
My parents have been through something very similar to this, so I do have that. But I understand it's biased or whatever.
Okay. I wrote down 19 little quotes and things, and I'll just kind of like talk through things. But before we get to that, let's get a common definition of like what does abusive mean.
I would say abusive is abuse, so misusing the other person, using them in a way that isn't respectful of them as a person, like using them to
This is a very Andrew Wilson thing. Probably. It's good that we have that, because I was planning to do just that at the beginning of the debate. I need to be able to get definitions at the beginning. It's like, okay, what are we talking about? What do you mean by like sexual activity? Because some people will be like, well, dancing could be considered as a sexual activity, right? It's like a way to coerce the other person into being with you or something like that. So this is something I was planning to do. I'll do it. We're gonna go through the idea of morality, and we're gonna go through all of this. But yeah, it is true. Like, this was something I was thinking about doing. It's a good thing to do in a debate, to go through the terms, to have a common understanding of the definition. There are some debates where the whole debate is about the semantic. One of these is, I want to have a debate with Vive on gender, like gender and sex. My claim is gender and sex are exactly the same. There's no difference between them. And he will probably come in and be like, well, can we head and define gender? And the whole debate is about the definition of gender and the definition of sex. So I cannot just accept any definition. What you can do in those cases is grant a baseline of what people think it is, and then I'm gonna grant you from your side that this is what we're talking about, but I'm gonna do a full critique on your definition until the point where I think it's absurd, and we're gonna move away from that definition. So you either agree that your definition is wrong and we can do the critique. Well, so either you accept that your definition is wrong, or I can do the critique and we can just manipulate it. But yeah, at the beginning I was planning to just go through the definition and have an idea of what we were talking about. We actually have to define like morals and where they come from, and I think she's gonna grant me the definition of morals, which is it's a divine command. I think she's gonna grant it, and that should be the debate. But my job in that point, my job at that point will be to get her to the point in which she's contradicting herself, right? That would be like my internal part of the critique. I will need to get her to the point where she is having an actual contradiction as of why she wants to be able to do all of these sexual activity, or she thinks that doing this sexual activity is fine, but her moral axioms is telling her that it is wrong. And I use axioms, or the moral commands that she follows tell her that it's wrong at the same time. So how can you be doing something immoral according to your worldview and thinking that it's a good thing to do? That is the contradiction, right?
to feel better about yourself, treating them poorly. I don't know, I'm misusing another person.
Okay, I can work with this. This I think it's an okay definition. I might be a little bit more strict in some cases, but sure, we can say that here. So
okay.
Let me
I
talk
agree
about
with that
this.
definition, by the way.
Broadly speaking, we would say that misusing, not being respectful to another person or treating them incredibly poorly, misusing them, stuff like that, right?
Sure. Yes.
Okay. So I wrote down 19 quotes and things that he's doing a lot that I feel like are probably disrespectful and not healthy towards seeking.
This is why I tell Ryan that we don't care about his feelings. And it's very important that if you're having a debate with anybody that uses I feel, that you do the same thing. They will try to wiggle their way out of these, but this is why they're doing it. You cannot feel something that is wrong. You just can't. If I go ahead and I tell you I feel hot, and you tell me but it's chilly, well, it's my feelings, right? I feel this thing. You can, what the hell? What are you talking about? I can feel whatever I want. It's if she ever goes for the I feel this, I feel that, I will absolutely just say, well, listen, okay, I don't care about your feelings. You either make a claim about what you can think, or about or what what you think, or what you know, and I can make a claim against that, because you can know something that is wrong, or you can think something that is wrong, but I cannot tell you to not feel X thing. It is it's very, very prominent that people use feel. If you go, I made a debate posing as a lefty in lower class last Saturday, and one of the things I used was pretty much I feel. I used the I feel argument. So whenever you have an I feel, whenever you hear or you see an I feel argument, you have to stop it right away, and you have to tell them that you don't care about what they feel, because this is not about their feelings, right? This is why if you're ever with a significant other, and they tell you I feel X thing, it's hard to argue them. It's really hard to argue them when it comes to, hey, I feel this X thing. They might be wrong on the facts, but you have to actually agree with the idea that they are feeling X thing, and you have to try to wiggle, to comfort them at least. That would be that's the great difference between an I feel argument versus an I think or I know, or a proper argument. And you have to be, for people that are so debate minded, as me, as maybe Tweaker, maybe Destiny, Andrew. I don't think Andrew has this problem. Andrew seems like an actual reasonable person when it comes to feelings, but even him, there must be times when he doesn't realize that what is the difference, right, between a feel versus a feel argument versus an actual argument. So never ever let anyone use a feel argument against you. It's a very simple tactic. People use it all the time, and it's very deceptive, because it's unfalsifiable. You cannot falsify their feelings. That's the point, and that's why they do it, by the way, because you cannot falsify their feelings.
Some sort of like good resolution. Okay, ready? Okay. So the first thing we run into is there's a lot of interrupting, okay? The general tone of the conversation is very aggressive from Steven Crowder's side, okay?
Okay. As I said, inferences. All of this is purely inference-based. Oh, there's interrupting. Oh, there's very aggressive. Like, I don't think it was aggressive at all. They were having an argument, okay? I don't think that was an aggressive argument. I have had worst arguments with Ryan on the internet about how dumb he is, or with Melvin. Like, the last time I had an argument with Melvin, I interrupted her like 5 times because she wanted to wiggle away about telling me what I was wrong. Why am I wrong? Why am I even wrong? People, they couldn't tell me what I was wrong, so I needed to interrupt to let them know, like, understanding why. And it wasn't an aggressive conversation. It's not about, there was no aggression. An actual aggressive statement would be something that's trying to, like a proper ad hom. There were no ad homs in the whole conversation. The only time something can maybe be considered an ad hom when he said that she should act like a good wife, right? But I don't think that's an ad hom, because what they're talking about is who has authority and what she and he should do. That's the whole point. That's what they were talking about. I didn't know that it was before he had the heart surgery, and I think there were hormones and other stuff around it. Obviously, we don't know. These are just inference arguments. So all she has to do now is say what I thought Destiny was gonna say. How do you know? And even go back and verify if they're being aggressive or not.
Would you agree with that?
I would say he's frustrated and she's disengaged, and being disengaged is a form of abuse.
I can agree with you, but it seems like she's answering most of his questions. She's relatively engaged. I don't necessarily see the
Yep. Nope. We're not gonna do that, I guess.
engagement. Also, while I agree with you that disengagement can be a form of abuse, it can also be a form of conflict resolution, to where, like, right now we're both heated. I need to take a step back because this isn't going to be productive, right? Could be.
It could be, yes, but I think in this.
Okay. Could be is a good argument. You can make these kind of arguments every now and again. You're just asking if it's logically possible, and you don't have to fight these kind of arguments. You can even just agree with them, and it's gonna be fine if you understand where you're going.
Situation, that's just from me. I don't think he's being abusive, so I think she's just disengaging because she's overwhelmed. And I am sympathetic with her, but I do think she's just disengaging instead of engaging with his frustrations, honestly.
Sure, potentially. Okay, so I'm keeping potential pathways open because, yeah, there's a lot of potentialities. Okay, I think that when you're in the middle of a fight and you're having a disagreement over responsibilities, using really loaded terms to demean your partner or make them seem like they're not worthy of love or status is kind of an abusive thing. So when I say things like, oh, you're not going to do your wifely things, wifely things seems like you're treating them with a lot of disrespect. Like, you can't even do your wifely things? Why don't you...
Okay, precisely. That was the whole point of what I said about the at-home. He is taking that as an at-home. But I think most people will... Well, when I heard it, I thought it as a descriptive claim. Hey, you're not doing this thing. This thing is what you're supposed to be doing because it's your duty as a wife. And there's a difference between what is the duty of a wife versus what you should be doing. So, it's, yeah. He garnered the idea of, hey, this is an at-home, we're gonna attack this. And I don't think Grace actually understands that. Let's see what happens.
That's one thing that a quote they wrote in here. And then later on, I think he says, you need to become someone worthy of being a wife. Those are pretty rough.
I think that absolutely is not only not disrespectful, it's incredibly respectful. He's saying, I hold you as a person to a higher standard. They're both Christian, right? They both agreed to having a traditional marriage. He's saying, you agreed to do these things, you're not doing them. I respect you enough to say, you can do better than this. That's extremely respectful. Sure, if you say it in a frustrated way because you're frustrated with their failures, okay, but like, that's okay for a man to express frustration too. Just because a man's frustrated or even angry doesn't mean he's abusive.
So I'm not saying that just because he's angry or frustrated means he's abusive. Okay, I love getting angry and frustrated. But there's a difference between saying, like, listen, you're my wife. I know you can do better than this. That's a lot different than saying, like, why don't you become somebody worthy of being a wife? Become somebody worthy of being respectful. The first one is said with an obvious shared hope of this person living up to your expectations. The second one kind of sounds like a condescending, stinging bite that you're just, like, throwing out there to kind of, like, knock the person down a peg or two.
Well, I'm not saying he's perfect, okay, but I think in response to that, I would say he's getting frustrated because she's disengaging and her being manipulative and saying, I love you, but Steven, I'm not doing this right now.
Funny how the roles have reversed. 99% of the time, when we use the I feel argument versus the I think. This is very good faith by Grace, I have to give it to that. She also understood the idea of the ease, like we're talking about, she's not doing the thing that she's supposed to. She didn't really went hard into that duty aspect though. So he's probably gonna keep attacking her on that area.
That is manipulative. That is also expressing anger. It's just in a feminine way. And also, this is not about minor responsibilities. This is about whether she's going to walk out on him at his weakest point right before he's getting chest surgery and before their twins are about to be born. It's not about the car or the groceries.
Okay, well, I'm not necessarily even making this about the car or the groceries. I'm just trying to peel through one of these at a time. So when you say, I love you, that's manipulative. It could be manipulative. That could be escalatory or de-escalatory. I don't think we have enough information to clearly say.
She walked out on the guy and divorced him a couple months later, and she says, "I love you and I'm committed to you." That's a lie. That's
we don't
a lie.
know, but we
from
don't know.
her.
We don't know why they got divorced. We don't know what happened or what caused it. It might have been the fact that she was leaning towards it, but finding out that he got a divorce lawyer was what drove her. Which is like, well, fuck, if you're getting a lawyer, like, I'm obviously gonna get divorced, right?
Okay, but even if that was true, right? Supposedly he hired this lawyer after this video, right? It wasn't before June of 2021, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so even if that was true, first of all, just because he spoke, there's no such thing as a divorce attorney. There's people who are specialized in family law, and obviously people who specialize in divorce. But there's no such in her family statement. I mean, you can't even.
Wait,
take
wouldn't
her
that be
family
a
statement
divorce
seriously.
attorney? What do you mean?
Well, they're.
Yeah. That is, she just contradicts herself a little bit there. It's fine. They are having. She's obviously way more knowledgeable about what's going on in this like settlement thing than Steven is. But he doesn't care about the facts of the matter. What he's trying to do is paint a picture and sell it to the people that is with him in this area. Yeah, this is. I mean, I watched the guy a lot of times, so I know I know what he's doing, and that doesn't mean I will be a great debater against him, right? He's very good at what he does, so I'm just trying to tell you that she's trying to explain what was the thing going on behind the whole thing, and he's just taking any of the details that he can garner to paint the narrative in his favor, because he also has a narrative behind him that it's what he's using to look at all these things. So he's using his worldview to process the information that they both are looking at, and they just have a complete difference in how they look at the things.
They're not called divorce attorneys. They just specialize in family law, and they specialize in a range of fields.
Sure, it's a divorce attorney. I have a defamation lawyer. It's not like they specialize or they're called that, but it's a lawyer that has specialties that works certain cases, right? You have a divorce attorney, probably somebody that works in family law, and probably somebody that specializes in dealing with divorces, probably even from the male side, right? You call him a divorce attorney. I think that's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, but first of all, from her family statement, first of all, who is this family? Somebody should be held to account for making these allegations, such as that he cut her off financially when there's no backup for that.
True. Those
Who
are.
is this family?
To
I
be
think
clear,
it's just
though,
her.
article that's different. Those are different things. I'm just dealing with the claims in the video, just what we're going in the video, line by line. So you said, "I love you."
Well, but you said the divorce lawyer thing.
Well,
Okay, this is very important. So he knows that she obviously knows more about this case than he does. He doesn't want to go into any of the specifics of it because he probably will look bad about it. So what he's doing, he's just gonna stay with the video, and we're gonna talk about the video, and we're gonna make all the inference within the video. And I cannot say that I'm right or you're right. This is just purely inference now. We're just speculating about what we think, and we're just gonna be talking about what we think. I don't think we're gonna get anything else about this specific debate. She was extremely good faith in this debate so far, and I'm hoping I get a little bit of the same good faith. But yeah, this was like, so far what I can say is that she's actually she will probably come in. She's pretty intelligent. She seems to be pretty intelligent, and I'm like kind of understanding where she's, at least over here, she seems to be trying to understand what is the problem, and she's just blaming Hillary for what happened, right? And just trying to attack the narrative that Crowder was the abusive one. So we're gonna move on. I also don't want to get hit by DMC or anything like that, but I'm just gonna go ahead and move on from this. I also hate to listen to this Coomer Gremlin. So, yeah. We're gonna go into this debate, which I think is way more of an interesting. And we're gonna look at her opening statement.
Have until the kids get older.
CSP. Grace. Okay, this is Grace opening.
Hi, James. Hi, guys. Thanks for having me. Okay, I want to start this by saying that I think there's two different ways to define the word patriarchy, and I think it's really important that we figure out what exactly we're making the case for here. On the one hand, you have the sort of very traditional Oxford Dictionary definition, which is very literal, which would be any form of social organization in which men have predominant power.
There is, I will say this about patriarchy. They're probably gonna use, most 99% of the people think about men being in power is like patriarchy. Since I've been thinking about the force doctrine argument, I don't think it has anything to do with that. It's just a descriptor of reality. Like, the patriarchy is the imposition of force, so that is what I don't think any society can exist without a patriarchal structure, because the imposition of force is always done by men. Even when you can think of a woman being in power, she's deferring all of the force to men, and like pretty much men have to agree in order for her to be in power. So I see more of a descriptor of reality of who is the one that's imposing force. No idea. I don't know anything about this debate. I just want to see the opening statement. I want to know how she usually does her openings. Again, she hasn't done this for years, so her opening statement might be a lot better than this one. Let's see what happens.
This comes from the etymology of the word, so patri meaning father and archi meaning rule in Greek. Then you have a more sort of political definition of it, which would be sort of an oppressive structure that men enforce over women, a society controlled by men in which men use their power to their own advantage over women. I would hope, just to start, that we could agree that the concept that men as a collective have conspired to oppress women throughout history by establishing power structures that subjugate women is ridiculous. It's sort of a conspiracy theory. Pre-Christian societies did see women as second-class citizens, the Greeks, the Romans, etc. The Greeks even thought that women were like unfinished men. But post-Christian societies, I would say generally there isn't a collective of men that are oppressing women. Now, that leads us to two essential questions. Number one, is patriarchy the natural way of organizing human society? And if you agree to that, if so, if it is the natural way, is it possible that we've progressed beyond nature due to technological advances, etc., to the point where we no longer need to use the natural hierarchies? I would say the answer to the first question is obviously yes, but the opposition may try to fight us and say that patriarchy is not the natural way of organizing human society. But in response to that, I would just ask anybody to look at a family and tell me that the father is not the head of the household.
There's a better way. It's just look at society and tell me a society that has been matriarchal, where the force is imposed by the woman instead of a man. That what I was talking about. This can be. There can be places where the mom is the one who is kind of in charge, or is seen as to be in charge, especially of the house, even though it's not actually true. Like, men are the ones that are the force, and the ones that at the end of the day will use force 99% of the time. So I don't like. I think it's a weak argument. That's it. Like, when you go and make a generalized statement, especially a monolithic one, you have to be sure that the monolith that you are presenting is can withhold the stones you throw at them. And the household, it's probably way more minutiae, so that you have to actually go into it little by little. while the argument for society, you don't have to. There's none. It's that simple. I don't know of any. Every single time they bring an idea, it's not that. Every single time, men are the enforcers, so it just doesn't exist. I haven't. Yeah, it's kind of an impossibility.
Simply look at male and female anatomy, and you tell me that the male is not the dominant and the female is the submissive. Or show me one way in which men are not the source and creativity. They give the source of life, and women take that source and develop it. I think debating about that is just boring. It's in our anatomy, it's in the way we work, it's in the way we think. It's obvious. Now, the thing is, I think about the patriarchy, I think the reason that it pisses the left off so much is because, unfortunately, our society prizes masculine traits like leadership and aggression and dominance as like more valuable than feminine traits like cooperation, religiosity, empathy,
Hey, this is wrong. Society does not prize those aspects of men more than the aspects for the woman. Men value women for those aspects, and women value men for those aspects, right? What happened is that we have destroyed those aspects in our society as them being something valuable. And the way that this is done directly by feminism. In fact, some of my argumentation is that she's accepting the destruction that has caused feminism in our society in order to try to accept immorality, and that way she's like, oh, we're gonna do this because we live in an immoral society. But the way it's like, if you accept the immoral society that we live right now, then you're accepting the underlying problems with the society that we live right now, and those underlying problems are feminism. So she's gonna have to deal with that, and I don't know how she's actually gonna deal with that. And this is something very common, and I think it's an actual misogynistic thing. It's like women see femininity as something that's not valuable, and people in general like attacking the idea that, oh, this is not valuable because it's like feminine, unless you are a man for some reason. But I don't think society in general think those things are less valuable. They're less valuable like in the workplace. They're less valuable if you're trying to be a man, which is what most women are doing right now. They're like competing with men, trying to be men. But if they're women and they're not trying to do that, but they're actually trying to be a woman, those traits are actually pretty awesome, and we want them and we like them about them. Okay, like submission, like, let's hear them again, and I just probably agree with those that we want those kind of traits in a woman.
Than feminine traits like cooperation, religiosity, empathy, humility, stuff like that.
So all of that, also men, we don't like men that are just pieces of crap, right? And we don't, when you are being the opposite of humble, damn, let me get that, humble. Yeah, we don't like arrogant people. So if you're being arrogant and you think that as a man is a positive trait, I have a thing to tell you. No, we don't like those people. We don't. Men that are all the time telling you how good they are, how cool the thing is, we don't like them. We don't talk to them. People disagree with them. We just see them as most men see them as lesser men. Well, okay, we like cooperation. We like them to be available. We like to be able to work with them and to ask for something and get a reply. That's what men like about other men most of the time. Hey, you're gonna be here at 5, and you're there at 5. So that is I don't even think those are like proper just traits for women. A trait for a woman would be, it is like we don't understand cooperation as a trait, but it would be submission. Um, it would be like being lovely, being meek, taking into account, like empathy is a good one because she's taking into account the feelings of the family. Um, she should be very good at organizing, being able to maintain decency. All of those things are like very important. Like being decent and being a proper, being a lady, right? So those things are like what I believe she should be focusing on instead of these traits. Because I don't think humility is something that is like a feminine trait. I think it's both the men and the women should be humble, and they should humble themselves to the Lord. So it's important for both to be humble.
So admitting if the left admits that men are natural leaders, they feel like they're admitting that men are better than women because leadership is more prized in our society than, submission, frankly. And I think that's the underlying motivation for saying that, for denying the nature of human, for denying human nature, is to say, well, we can't admit that men are natural leaders and that men should be in charge in society, because if we admit that, then we're admitting that women are lesser than men, when in fact that's not true. Women and men both equally have important roles, but I don't think you can debate the nature. I think society has to value women more, and not that society has to masculinize women and say that they can be as great leaders and as great, be in charge of things like men can. I just think
That's true. I agree. Yeah, being like it's hard. Being humble is really hard. Like, I think everybody in the internet is a little bit not humble because you're putting yourself out there and you're talking about stuff. Who are you, right? If you were truly humble, you will not do this. Um, I don't think that's a problem with her being humble. Um, I'm not gonna go ahead and make that claim just yet, and I want to go into the debate thinking that we both believe there's something that we can learn from the other. Um, so I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna humble myself to that idea for now and just try to sustain it. Especially because I thought, with at least with Destiny, she was extremely good faith.
it's obvious that men have a
It was
certain
way
role
better
and
than
women
I
have a certain
expected.
role. So if we can agree on the basic natural human fact that men are naturally leaders in society, we can address a second, more interesting question, which would be, have we progressed beyond nature due to technology and other things like that, to the point where we no longer need to use the natural hierarchies? When I was researching this topic, I found a quote by a feminist historian, Dr. Lerner, who said, what Freud should have said is that for women, anatomy once was destiny, but it no longer is, and it should not be in the future. Patriarchy is a human creation. It is not functioning very well now, and it can be ended. We can't do that as long as we believe that patriarchy is natural or God-given. So in that quote, she's kind of saying, like, yes, women are naturally, due to our anatomy and also, just due to nature, we are submissive, but due to advancements, we no longer need to use this outdated system. As a Catholic, but more so just as a person, I firmly believe that even if technology can overcome certain physical differences between men and women, that these differences are only the physical manifestations of a deeper separation between the two sexes. Women are contingent on men, and that's just a fact of reality. But I'll leave disproving that to our opposition. I'm not making the case for patriarchy. I'm simply pointing out the obvious, and it's up to them to make the case for something else. There's no coherent way to organize society except for the way that society naturally organizes itself, which is that men are the leaders and women follow. But if you want to play God, you can see how that works out for yourself. Thank you.
more patriarchal.
But
than
Nina, you're equating patriarchy
America.
with oppression of women, right? Because you would aren't you equating that?
I'm equating it to oppression of both men and women.
Okay, but what I'm saying is you're saying that patriarchy.
This is it's interesting. So patriarchy is the oppression of men and women. I think what they're saying is some, because you can actually make a if I was there, I could make a case that there are some women that are not oppressed by the patriarchy, and I think they would agree, right? I don't think there wouldn't be a problem if I said that, and they wouldn't have a problem either. Everybody would agree.
Limits people's freedom. All I'm saying is it's a way
Absolutely.
to organize society.
I'm gonna take 1 second and check something real quick. Let's go into the intro for a second.
And America is
By forcing
Oops. Let's go back.
them to go, no, to force them into going into, it has patriarchal systems. Yes, of course, every country does to an extent. There's no like way to necessarily get away from
Why
it.
is
I'm
that?
not saying
Why is it that every country
it's not a
has...
system of government. Like, what do you mean?
It's a system. It's a hierarchy. It's a way of.
Here's a less loaded question.
Right,
exactly.
Nina, can you name some non-patriarchal societies or cultures
Do you want me to name a society or culture that doesn't have hierarchies?
that doesn't have patriarchy?
Oh, yeah. This is exactly what I said. He went directly there, and I don't think there's a way to do it. This is one of the few monolithic statements that I can make that I'm pretty sure I'm right. That is not like 2 + 2, right?
Patriarchy as you'd see
I
it.
don't have any
like a
aspect
matriarchal
of-
a matriarchal society. That's
I have
successful.
no fucking okay. A non-patriarchal doesn't mean a matriarchal society.
I thought that the question was whether or not we should follow a patriarchal
Yeah, but
society, not whether or not they exist. Hold on,
Because the question
not
of
whether or not they exist.
There's an easy way to deal with this. Should, if a thing doesn't exist and you cannot make, like, there's no way. It's like, oh, should we believe that the Earth is flat? And the answer is no because it's round. That would be the same answer here. It's like, oh, should we not use patriarchy anymore? And the question is, well, if the answer is no because it's not true, it doesn't exist. If it doesn't exist, we can't even comprehend how it will be to be without it, right? It's like we cannot follow something that is that doesn't exist.
the question of whether we should have a patriarchy is directly related to the question of whether it's possible for there not to be patriarchy.
Is it okay? So then my follow-up question, and if Red would be whether or not is there going to be an instance where there is either meritocracy, where patriarchy doesn't really matter anymore, or is there some societies that are less patriarchal than other ones, and those societies are doing better or not?
I love your question. In a meritocracy, I'm willing to bet a patriarchy would arise naturally. We don't have a meritocracy in today's feminist institutions because
I would argue there isn't a meritocracy even in some of the most patriarchal
what we have in the woke institutions is affirmative action for the fairer sex.
Okay, wait. But I gotta put some stats here.
We have a quota. If you're a woman, we're going to appoint you to a position of power, not because they're married.
What quota? What country are you talking about, though? We don't actually have quotas.
In the United States.
Yeah, I've never heard of.
We don't have quotas in the United States.
We have institutions which definitely do.
There are some companies that wish to have
a more. Some companies. It's a corporate fucking standard. Don't weasel out here.
I'm not weaseling out. There are some companies that want to have a more equity.
Name some major institutions that don't practice affirmative action for women when it comes
affirmative action for women.
Yeah, name some.
Can you name one that does?
Every corporate, almost.
That's a cop out.
Okay, that's not.
Okay. You know what?
Wait, so which one?
Almost all of the writers who work at Netflix who are women are just there because they're women. They're not talented. They're worthless. Everything they produce.
That is a completely subjective interpretation of what is going on.
It's not subjective. If you don't know, these corporations literally go, "Oh yeah, she's a woman. We'll hire her because it gives us some fucking brownie points." Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what they
you
do.
Yeah, capitalism
So he
sucks.
Okay,
I
but
get it.
wait. Don't we have to
you must
agree?
some
We,
problem, and that's the case.
we have to. I think you guys on the opposition, you have to give some basis for why you say patriarchy is oppressive to women, because you're saying it's wrong, and we're going into what societies have patriarchy, matriarchy, whatever. But what is your? Yeah, go ahead.
So we're changing the subject.
Well, I mean, quotas, like, but don't we have to go back to the basics and say, like, why are you guys against patriarchy in the first place? And then we can go into how it's.
Sure.
Do you want to go first, Nia?
Well, I mean, that was literally our opening statements, so
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys weren't paying attention, but like, do you want us to just read them again?
Well, but what I'm saying is, you're saying the patriarchy hurts women, but you haven't actually
No, it hurts
identified
everybody.
It
The
hurts
reason
everybody.
it hurts everybody, and that's what I ended my opening statement with, is that there are
But
people
what is that?
Wait,
Hold on.
This I oh she's doing fine. I don't think we're gonna find anything about that. So we're gonna move into my debate with her. That is the only place where I can find some of her arguments that we're gonna be using. I also want to relive it, I guess. I don't like listening to myself. So this is gonna be a little bit of a torture session for me. I think she also wanted to have like some kind of response from me. I was not feeling that good that day. But let's see what happens.
Usually debate. What do you usually debate?
Let's
Let me pick up
let's
from He's fapping right now.
here, dude.
Why are you clicking your mouse?
I'm not clicking.
Necessary filter for missing.
Like,
No. The prompt's been picked. It's a new kind of. And
okay, women sexual contact.
interesting.
No. Any sexual contact before the week.
To dumb this one down, I'm sorry. Want to? All right.
After in context, we know that sex has to be in context specifically, especially in. Let's start. So whenever we look at Christian ethics specifically, especially, yeah. So I'm starting with Christian ethics. That's fine. I don't want to play. I don't want to hit play. In the two main churches, both Catholic and Orthodox, we know that sex has to be in context of marriage. This is described during the scripture. We also know that specifically in Corinthians, it is said that if you cannot control your sexual urges that you are called to control, you have to get married so that you don't fall for any of that. What we normally see in modernity is the destruction of the idea of marriage, and they postpone the idea of marriage in order to advocate for degeneracy. So it is the same, yeah. Okay, I didn't do a great job of finishing the argument there. The whole point is, we know, according to the main churches and according to tradition, we know that sex is restricted to marriage. You are called to actually control yourself. If you can't control yourself and your basic urges, because it's an urge, then get married, have a family, do what you need to do in that regard. And what I should do there is, instead of saying in society right now, what I should say is what we are going to look from the opposition is that they are willing to allow the destruction of marriage and the family to satisfy degeneracy, which is what she's kind of advocating for. If you're not in marriage and you're not getting married and you're doing degenerate stuff, then you're allowing said degeneracy to take place in society.
Okay. And when you're ready, Grace.
Okay. I would argue that as I'm a Catholic, as Catholics, we're called to uphold the principle of the lesser of two evils.
This is what you were talking about. This is true. If she's talking about the lesser of two evils, then she's actually saying that it is immoral, and if it's immoral, then it's just immoral. So there's nothing else to say.
And I would say that because our society is not anywhere even close to something like Amish standards, where women and men get married quite young and are chaperoned by parents and sort of led by parents into relationships, that in the modern age, the Christian concept of blue-balling a man for years of dating and spending time together behind closed...
I don't even know if that is a Christian concept. Like, I've never ever heard the Christian concept of blue balling a man.
Doors without parental chaperoning or anything like that is more of a sin than giving a guy a hand job or a blow job before you get married. Because in a modern society where men have access to porn, everybody's been sexualized, we're not Amish, and we shouldn't be LARPing and pretending we are. Crucifying a man when you're dating him, courting him, and saying you're not going to get anything until marriage is misandrist, because it's easy for women to wait until marriage, but it's much harder for men. And when you have men that average...
Yep. Yes, true. But you should be getting married sooner. You should be getting married. You shouldn't be getting married 10 years into a relationship, right? You should be married 6 months into a relationship at most. That's my opinion. Like, you should be getting married early in life. You should be building a family early in life. You should be doing all of the things that encompasses that early in life, so that you can enjoy of the fruits of that later in life. Now, when you are 30 and you have a kid that's 10, it's way better for the kid and for you than if you are 50 and your kid is 10, or you're 40 and your kid is 10. It's not the best. It's not the best for the kid. It's not the best for you. Obviously, you're gonna have multiple, right? But I mean, we're talking about the first kid.
Average age of marriage. Oh, okay.
Sorry. I know.
Sorry, I got lost.
I know you just want to keep going. All right, you got.
This is gonna be a problem for me, because she's gonna want to keep on going, and I need to be able to stop her. And I'm not that good at doing that, but I need to stop her. I need to be able to be like, hey, no, we're going here.
Got 5 minutes on the clock. Get ready.
This is especially at the beginning. I don't care if she prattles on after, but at the beginning we're setting up the terms and the terminology of everything, and when I'm gonna lay the case, it's what I think it's way more important for me to be able to lay down the case and move from the is statement that she's gonna make to the ought, and then we can do whatever, right? But I think especially at the beginning is important that we get to that point, to that part.
Go.
What you're telling me is that you are accepting the current degeneracy of the world, and you're not going to do anything to go ahead and move it towards the Christian ethics. You're taking the idea that the church prefers the lesser of two evils, and instead of going towards the Christian ethics, you're moving away from them to allow the world.
Well, if you want to talk about Christian ethics, I believe it was Thomas Aquinas who argued that prostitutes could be valuable in society.
Okay, yes. We can accept certain evils in society. That doesn't mean that they are ethical things. It's like, we're going to accept that evil exists because we're not perfect and there is evil in society, but that doesn't mean at all that we should be making prescriptions towards. It will be like, well, prostitutes exist, and Christian ethics said that there might have certain utility in society. Thus, we're gonna go ahead and prescribe that women should be prostitutes. It's like, no, that has nothing to do with it. It's bad.
Because
I should have called that, and I didn't.
They prevent good girls from getting used by men, and they're a necessary evil. So I really think if you want to talk about ethics, is it ethical to date a man for years and never let him sexually express at all? Is that not misandrous? Because it's easier for women than for men. If our culture
leave that woman and get married to a woman that will get married with him.
Okay, but you have to be realistic. In our culture, you don't get married until 2 or 3 years of dating.
And it's probably gonna be the same if we just allow them to just do whatever, right? If we're trying to move people towards marriage, we want them to move towards marriage, not to get whatever they want without marriage.
Right? You don't get married young either. So what are men supposed to do from age 15 to 30? What are they supposed to do? Are we supposed to just say like you're not allowed to have any sexual expression? If a young man has been immersed in porn, which most young men have, why are we pretending like we're living in the 1800s? Yeah, but they are, and you're not going to get out of it by saying that's not a reality. It's a reality, and it's not their fault. It's not their fault.
I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm saying that we should take responsibility for those kids, ban porn, and actually get them to get married and have a wife and kids and have a family.
But you're saying
and you're like, no, we should just
I agree. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you that there is an ideal, but I'm saying in the modern world that we live in, that ideal is not possible without quick marriages, which are not prudent in our society because most people.
She's right about this, by the way. This is a reason why I talk about enforcement of marriage is because of these. It's like, well, it's not prudent for just people to get married and just get divorced. True, and we shouldn't allow divorce. That's why, right? You're gonna get married, you're gonna do it all the way down. But she's correct. This is an easy statement, and what I have to do is get back into Christian ethics and be like, no, in Christian ethics we don't allow divorce, so they shouldn't be divorcing. We're talking about the ethical system. In the ethical system, is you get married, you don't get divorced. Hey Cecil, welcome.
People are not.
Thank you for coming, by the way, even if it's at the end of the stream. If you can give us a like, that would be greatly appreciated.
Ready for marriage until much later. Well, do you really think the average 16-year-old in today's society is as capable of marriage as the average 16-year-old in 1800s? No, of course not.
Why not?
People mature much later.
What is the ontological difference between a 16-year-old now?
Our society and culture has changed massively. So what?
Society and culture has changed massively, but at that time they believed they could do it and they did it, and I believe that society can do it now, and they should, not necessarily should, but they can do it, and there's no difference. I have an actual problem with this argument, by the way. I'm gonna try to move away from it and be like, we're talking about 18, and the reason why I'm gonna move away from it is because it's an optics nightmare and it doesn't really matter. I don't have to. This is a losing battle. I don't have to lose the battle, right? So if I don't have to lose the battle, I won't lose the battle. But I think I'm correct here. I don't think there's people used to get married young. They didn't have much problem to do it then, and I don't think they should have any problem to do it now. I think we should be more community oriented as well. Like, they don't go 3 years to be deacons and then come back and they're generous, stuff like that. But yeah, it's I'm just gonna try to move away from this idea and be like bite the bullet on it. Be like, well, yeah, I don't think 16 should be, but 18, there's no problem. 18 should, and we should be like teaching, like getting them to the place so that at 18 they can get married and have a bunch of kids and have a lot of sex, right? Because it's great. You can do it. It's amazing. Within marriage.
What I'm trying to argue is I'm actually arguing on behalf of men. I'm saying that our society used to protect men and not endlessly blue ball them by saying you're gonna get
protect men and women. Marriage is for the protection of the woman. It's obviously it protects men as well, right? But the whole point of it was you get married and you're gonna be in a vulnerable state because you're gonna have kids, and the kids are gonna be in a vulnerable state. So at this point, the man is the protector of the family, okay? But they're gonna grow up, and when they're older and everything, the end result is the kids are gonna probably take care of the parents. So it is a circle of protection in a sense. They're both getting, everybody is getting protected by this idea. So the man, the woman, and the children, and the future is also kind of protected because you're gonna get somebody to be with you and help you through this, through what's happening. So I need to be able to give that as a better argument too. This is like something I didn't do right.
Married
I'm
young.
also, if you see, I'm so annoyed. I don't know, I don't even know why I'm so annoyed. But these, every time I go into VK or I go into the Signal Syndicate, I just get so angry and annoyed. And I don't even know why yet.
You're gonna get married quickly, and you're gonna be able to fuck this girl quickly and release so that you're not sitting there getting wound up. But
Listen, not all the
nowadays,
time.
we don't do that anymore. We don't do that anymore.
Most men during history didn't get married and didn't have kids and didn't have a wife. Okay, this is known. This is an actual fact of the world. What you're talking
Say
about?
that again. Most men didn't get married.
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Say that again.
I'm pretty sure this is true. I'm gonna go ahead and use the evil devil. In history, percentage of men that didn't get married. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Antiquity percentage of men that didn't get married. It's probably a better place. So most of the slaves never got married. That's true. So the higher class men, all of them got married, most of them. But the lower class, there was like a 20%, and from like the actual serfs, most of them didn't get married at all. That is so I don't have an actual idea. I think Cecil found it sometime. Maybe you can help me out with this one. But I remember I saw it in a long time. 40 to 50% of men didn't get married at all and never had children. Okay? Did you know that?
What time frame are we talking about here?
During all of history, even now it's happening. We're reverting back to those numbers. So what you're saying?
Okay, I want to see what your point is. I'm not sure. Okay, sure. I'll grant that.
What you're saying is we want to go ahead and instead of enforcing Christian ethics and getting people to actually have a family and have a life and have their own wife, we're going to go ahead and allow them to be complete degens in this society because we think it's the lesser of two evils. That's your point. And I say no. Ethics are not negotiable. We don't negotiate with ethics. What we want is to have
ethics are highly negotiable.
This is a bad point. For me, this is what I'm going to say is we want to get people to actually get married, to have kids, to have family. And the way we do it, by the way, is through Christian ethics. And that is what has reduced the number of men that are unmarried. So we went to having a high number of men that were married to a low number of men that were married in like modern society. And we're reverting back to having a high number of men that are unmarried. And I think, we know that causes instability in society because you have a bunch of usually not very happy men that are not doing the greatest thing with their life.
Ethics are negotiable. Ethics change based on society. Ethics change based on society.
this is not true in the sense that universality, but it is true in the sense that there are things in society that change, and there is space to move between the ethical system.
Culture. Yes,
Not in
absolutely.
Christianity.
For example, masturbation
Not
is
in
considered a
Christianity.
sin. However, the Pope John Paul II said that masturbation
Yes.
can even be so low that it's not even a sin because it's so
Do you-
available to get.
This is a bad argument by her, in my opinion, because we're talking about the ethics system. It's, yeah, should have. I think it actually attacked it a little bit and was like, hey, we don't believe that, we believe in this. But it's good that she brought it up. It's not even that much of a sin, right? I think this is like the worst part of. I think this is the part where I lost the debate, to be honest, because I didn't have a good answer to be like, no, hey, stop.
It can become an addiction. Men.
But I'm happy that I got her to admit that they pray to the same God as the sand people.
Can get very anxious and it becomes something they can't control.
Yes, and that is why.
So ethics do change. Ethics do
because
change.
you do things like that. Do you think the Pope, okay, and all of the Catholics worship the same God of the Muslims?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That's the reason why I don't think you're right when it comes to Christian ethics, because in the Orthodox faith, there is an actual standard of what it is.
Okay, wait. But let's not go into that's a separate argument.
I agree, but you're gonna go ahead and tell me that ethics are negotiable.
Well, it has to do with prudence. It has to do with prudence. The basic moral teachings are the same. I agree with you. I'm not saying
this is true, prudence, but I don't think it's prudent to allow man and woman to have extramarital sexual acts, because what you see is that they're not committing to each other, and at the end of the day, they're not actually forming a family. Instead, we're destroying the family. That's easy.
That the basic moral teachings don't
and
hold
I
up.
think it's
it has to do with prudence, and it's not prudent when you talk about Christian ethics, right? Christian ethics, if they're not wait, let me just make this point. If Christian ethics are not reflected in society as a whole, then we should not hold people to the ideal of Christian ethics.
Are you serious, Face?
No.
Are you serious, Face? Oh, I want to save that one. I like that Face. Are you serious?
Society as a whole, then we should not hold people to the ideal of Christian ethics in order to say that they have to follow these rules. It's not fair. It's not fair.
We have to hold them to the standard so that most people will get there. If you just allow them to do whatever they want, we end up in degeneracy.
Can you define prudence?
Okay, so that was the debate. I didn't engage anymore after that. I was annoyed, and it showed. So look at fucking Samurai Jack here. I wanted to say so many mean things to this fucking guy, but I couldn't because he was a judge. It's still funny though. Okay, so I think this was a good idea. I understand a little bit more of her arguments, and I realized what kind of botches I did. So we have to just engage with prudence. I did engage with the prudence thing correctly. In fact, I actually refuted the prudence thing, but I have a couple of blunders then. I thought this was a good debate. She engaged well. She was a little bit spastic, a little bit more than me. This was also a fucking 5-minute debate. I think that's why I'm so annoyed, especially lately. Like, I've been getting more and more annoyed at these kind of shows, and it's because I like to have more fun. I don't think this is like fun. I think this is annoying. And it has nothing to do with greed or with easy, right? I think they both have a good show, and I enjoy watching the debates, and even I enjoy debating sometimes. It's just me not being in the right mood to do them, and lately with everything, like I'm about to get graduated. I have certain stuff going on. I've been starting to stream. All of it is a little bit like feels like pressing. We are gonna go ahead and move on. I think this whole thing, the whole thing is. I went through it. I kind of understand her argument. I still think my argument is correct. Obviously, sees Aguilar police with his idea of letting her doing the argument and just burying herself is also true. I know what I have to do. I have my idea of the opening. I'll probably make another one where I'll be working on my opening statement a little bit and just getting any kind of feedback that you people may have for me. Thank you everyone that was here. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for watching. I am I'm really glad that I got at least a couple of people that I can interact with and see these and get an idea of what I'm going to do. I am going to be nervous. This is, I'm not going to pretend that I'm not going to. It's a big platform for me. I don't think I've ever been in a platform that big. I've been on Sarah's panel, but that's not the same. It's not as big of a platform. I'll be doing my best. I'll try to bring a little bit more humor. As I said, I'm dry sometimes, but I will try. And in order for me to be able to do that, I'm gonna go ahead and send all of you to the best place on the internet to be. We're gonna go to Abe's channel. And we're gonna have a great time in Abe's channel. That's what we're gonna do, okay? So I'm gonna put the link right here for everybody to go ahead. And I'll be on his panel and I'll be having a great time and, having fun, having actual fun, instead of talking about downer things like me having a decent debate and me telling you why Hardbound is such a bad thing for the gaming industry in general. So go over there, grab something, take a leak, and then enjoy having fun in the best panel in the business. I will obviously also tell you to go to Grids, sub. I will give a special mention to Grid because he's been awesome. He's come on and he's coming to chat. He's giving me a like. So it's been awesome to me, and he's the first person I actually interacted with, besides watching. So go ahead, sub to him, be great, and obviously go ahead and check all of the little things. But yeah, I'll be seeing you all in Abe's. Thank you very, very much for hanging out with me. And I will be going, so have a great one. Enjoy.